A very good afternoon from Tokyo City University. A very good morning to Professor Emeritus Datuk Engineer Dr. Muhammad Azraai Kassim, President of Qaiwan International University in Iraq. It is my great pleasure to host Professor Datuk today for our leadership discourse on visionary leadership. It is our great pleasure to host Professor Datuk Azraai online via Zoom today, connecting Iraq to Japan and Malaysia, and several participants also from Tokyo City University itself. And we have participants from University Technology Malaysia. Thank you for coming and for joining us this afternoon. Before we proceed with the distinguished talk by Professor Datuk, allow me to do a brief introduction. As a distinguished academic, environmental engineer, and university leader. So, as President of Qaiwan International University, Professor Azraai is committed to transforming the institution into a regional leader in innovative education and research. His strategic vision emphasizes global engagement, student-centered learning, and the development of future-ready graduates and entrepreneurs. Why we have Professor Azraai today, based on his leadership philosophy, who is guided by the core values of excellence, synergy, integrity, and lifelong learning. He believes in inclusive leadership that empowers individuals to grow, innovate, and contribute meaningfully to society. Professor Datuk Azraai is a highly respected academic and institutional leader in higher education, with a distinguished career spanning more than 4 decades. With deep expertise in environmental engineering, he has made significant contributions to academia, research, and university governance. He received his PhD in environmental engineering from University of Newcastle upon Tyne, England. Also, his master's and bachelor's in civil engineering from University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology. His career highlights: currently the president of Qaiwan International University, but previously the Vice Chancellor of University Technology Mara, and Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International Research and Innovation and Development at University Technology Malaysia. His key contributions and achievements include spearheaded the internationalization of University Technology Mara, expanding global partnerships and academic collaborations. So, Yang Bahagia Professor Datuk also strengthened research and innovation capacity across engineering disciplines at University Technology Malaysia. He has championed academic excellence, ethics, and lifelong learning in institutional leadership roles, and have been recognized for advancing engineering education and sustainable development in Malaysia and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, young scholars, without further ado, let us welcome Professor Emeritus Datuk Muhammad Azraai Kassim for his distinguished lecture on visionary leadership. The floor is yours, Datuk.
Thank you very much, Dr. Norhayati. My respected Dean of Graduate School of Environmental and Environment and Information Studies, Professor Bahadur Rijal, academic leaders, staff, students of TCU, UTM, and also probably some from Qaiwan University. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good day to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Bahadur Rijal and Dr. Norhayati for inviting me to do this sharing. Of course, I would love to do it face to face, but given our distance, 8,000 kilometers away, of course, this is the best way for us to do with this cross-vast distance. So, as Dr. Norhayati has mentioned just now, this is we are morning here. I just entered my office at normally around 8:15. Yeah. So I'm feeling fresh and energetic, it's very early in the morning. Okay, so I have to admit at the outset, I'm not an expert on leadership, but I'm a student of leadership, student and practitioner, which I have done so for the last, more than 30 years, holding various positions. So, and I'm still learning about leadership. It's a never-ending quest for me. Although I have read 100 books on leadership and attended 30 courses on leadership, to learn more about leadership, but I'm still learning, and there are some leadership books which I'm currently reading at the moment to learn more and improve my leadership. So visionary leadership, although I've modified a bit for academia, but actually it's for everyone, every country, every organization. Visionary leadership is relevant and important. Why I've put the additional prefix of for academia is because my examples will be at the back later on, will be from from academia. So we need this we need this leadership everywhere. But let me start first with this quotation from John Maxwell, one of the leaders of gurus of leadership. I will be sharing with you lots of materials from various gurus of leadership, as well as the books they publish and so on. According to John Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership. This is to show the importance of leadership. Everything, the success or failure of any organization actually is a direct reflection of its leadership. If you have good leadership, the organization will rise. If you got poor leadership, the organization will lag behind. So that's why this statement to me is very, very important. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And research has found that leaders with poor leadership skills generate poor results, whilst good leaders tend to produce good results for the organization. I think this is something easy to understand. Okay. This is just an idea of the positions sometimes available in academia. So in academia, academic staff sometimes are called to hold various positions, and of course these are leadership positions. And in order for you to do a good job, you have to learn about leadership. You see, academics generally shy away. Not only academics, so many people shy away from leadership positions, and the more so academic staff. It is because we love teaching and research. We love student development, we love publications, and so on. And we are hired not because of our leadership experience and leadership knowledge, but we are hired because of our expertise in certain disciplines. And like I said just now, our love of research and teaching and research and so on. So because of that, when given positions, sometimes because of our lack of understanding of leadership, or we have not really attended some courses of leadership, or we don't have some good leadership qualities in us, we do not do a good job, when given this position. So I think that's why it's important. And of course, I have held positions right from the lowest head of laboratory up to the highest. There is the vice chancellor. Because the vice chancellor in Iraq, they call it president instead of vice chancellor. Okay, so and I've been given the opportunity to lead the largest university in Malaysia, UiTM, University of Technology Mara, with 180,000 students, 35 campuses throughout Malaysia. So it was a great opportunity for me, actually, to have been given the opportunity to lead this university. Okay, before I go into the subject of visionary leadership, let me talk a bit about what is leadership, so that what are the basic concepts of leadership, so that it will serve as a foundation as well as a context, before we talk about visionary leadership. Many people think leadership is just telling others what to do, but there is more to it. Leadership really is about integrity. It's about casting a vision, use of influence, use of power, praising your team, self-awareness. You must know what are your strengths and your weaknesses. You must be a good listener, and you must empathize people under you and so on. Okay, so that's in brief. So what is leadership? Yeah, leadership is a vast subject, and there's 100 years of research done on leadership. 90,000 books have been published on leadership, and 60,000 are on Amazon. And every year, 1,000 new books on leadership are published, or written every year. So it's a vast subject, and sometimes it's a very serious subject as well. It can be boring as well. So I hope you will bear with me. But I will certainly share some of my experience in the 30 or 30 plus years when I hold positions at 2 universities. And now this is my 3rd university. There are over 200 definitions of leadership. Many. But I'm going to just highlight 4 for you. One is the ability to influence a group towards the achievement of goals. That is first definition, and I like this definition very much, and I will expand on this. Leadership is getting people to want to do what needs to be done. Leadership transforms organizational operation to a higher level of performance. And leadership is the ability to obtain followers. So this is, in short, what is leadership. Ability to influence a group, because you are not given people under you to lead. And of course, if you do things alone, you're not a leader. So you must get people under you to do what needs to be done. So, and this will require skills. This will require competencies that you have to improve. Okay. So I'm going to focus a bit on the definition of the ability to influence a group towards the achievement of goals. According to John Maxwell, leadership is influence. That's how big influence is. This is the most important skill that you need to acquire. The true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. From John Maxwell. And according to Maxwell, real leadership cannot be awarded; it must be earned through influence. And so you have to improve your ability to influence others. And there are many tips given in his book, The Laws of Leadership, the 21 Laws of Leadership. And also there's a good book, I recommend to everyone, by Dale Carnegie. This is a classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is one of the 5 recommended books that people who want to improve in their career have to read. How to Win Friends and Influence People. There are many tips given by Dale Carnegie on influencing others. Probably it's a subject of another talk, another time. Okay, so how to influence. So this is how to improve influence. So John Maxwell has highlighted here the 7 factors that influence. Okay, how to improve influence. One is character. Who they are. Character is very important. If you want to be a good leader, you want to influence others, you must have good character. People must, respect you and trust you and so on. 2 is relationships, who they know. The network that you have is also something that will influence your ability to influence others. People certainly respect someone who have a lot of network. Easy to do a lot of things when you have a lot of network. Especially in strategic positions. Number three, knowledge, what they know. So in order to improve your ability to influence, you need to have lots of knowledge. Intuition, what they feel. The ability, to have that gut feeling for something, whether something is right, something is not right. That is also will improve your experience, of course, where they have been, the positions that you've held in various organizations, for example, or the positions that you have held within your organization. These are things that will improve your experience. Past success, what they've done, what they have achieved, in their past positions. And number 7 is ability. What they can do, what they are capable of doing. Whether they can give a good speech, whether they can chair meetings very well, whether they can energize people in their team. So this is our ability. So to maximize influence, we must continually be growing on these 7 factors. So influence is so important. Of course, when you hold positions of leadership, you have that positional power, certain authority, and many people they tend to use the authority, but people under us sometimes do not like you flaunt your authority, your power. They know you're the boss, so you have to improve your ability to influence others. Like, I give you an example. I used to encounter a dean before a long time, who was trying to, there was some restructuring and he wants to take a staff from one particular unit. So he approached the head of unit and said that, Mr. So-and-so, I'm your boss. In life, you have to follow 2 persons. One is your boss and the other one is your mother. So, and he was saying, I'm your boss, so you have to heed what I'm telling you to do. I'm going to take your staff. Of course, that is, of course, the person who the head of that unit related to me this story, and of course he's not happy, because his boss is trying to, is trying to show his authority, flaunt his authority. But it would have been better if using an influence approach. It would have been better of telling him first, we are trying to make our organization better. This is the new direction, and now we are structuring, we are redeploying our staff, and from one unit to another, and we have identified someone who actually is that will fit the new positions that we are creating, and that person is from from a unit. So this is a different approach. Okay, this is a different approach. There are times when I encounter people who when they want to give orders to their staff, they say this is from above. From above you have to do it. Okay, so that is one way of doing it. But if you are using the influence approach, possibly you may adopt a different way. You're saying that this is a new direction of Misty, there's new vision, and we have now new strategies in place. And now our academic staff, for example, our staff have to do many things. And this is part of a thing which is contained in our new strategic plan, and everyone has to support this plan in order to make it successful. So you explain things, you put the context, and that will, so that your people under you will readily follow you. They understand what you're talking about, and why do you want them to follow a certain direction. So this is the ability, to influence. Just 2 quick quotations of Jack Welch, one of the top CEOs of General Electric in the US. A leader's job is to look into the future and see the organization not as it is, but as it should be. So this is a leader's job, to visualize in the future what our organization should be. You know, and according to Simon Sinek, another notable personality who writes a lot about, he's famous for the book Start With Why. And I'm currently reading his book, Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek. Leadership requires two things: a vision of the world that does not yet exist, and the ability to communicate it. Okay, so this is what leadership is all about. You have to visualize the future, where your organization will be in 5 years, 10 years, and then of course, once you have decided on that vision, you have to communicate it well to your people. Okay, according to the Center for Creative Leadership, these are the leadership challenges around the world. Leaders face this challenge: honing effectiveness, and how to improve your effectiveness. Like I said, you have to read, you have to go attend courses, you have to mentored and coached by someone who's more experienced in order that you become more effective. So you have to improve your effectiveness. Inspiring others, this is also an ability which is a big challenge to many people. For you to inspire others, you have to be a good example. People must look up to you in many aspects before they feel inspired by you. Developing employees, it seems easy, but sometimes in certain cultures, certain countries, sometimes organizations bring in people and expect them to do a marvelous job, but without developing them, without training them, giving them opportunity to develop, and so on. Leading a team, many situations in leadership positions, you have to lead people, you have people under, you have to create teams. So leading a team is also a big challenge. And of course, guiding change, this is another big challenge as well. Not many people have the ability to guide change, bring change. So that's why many organizations remain status quo. They remain where they are rather than making progress and so on. So this is also another challenge. And of course, the other one is managing stakeholders. In academia, there are many stakeholders. Yeah. We have our parents of students, we have the government, the ministries, we have scholarship awarding bodies, we have industries and employers, we have professional bodies and so on. So all this involves, something that we have to manage. There are a lot of stakeholders. Alumni is also a stakeholder. Sometimes we do in the university, for example, we do something, a new direction. Sometimes if we do not engage the alumni may oppose what we're doing. They may, because of their network, they may not like the idea, and they may oppose. So sometimes if you do not manage the stakeholders very well, we're going to have problems in our leadership. Okay, 3 critical leadership functions. According to Professor Linda Hill, Harvard Business School professor, in one of her writings, she said that there are 3 critical leadership functions. 1 is establish direction, 2, align people, 3, motivate and inspire. Okay, to me, if you cannot remember other things that I mentioned on leadership, you certainly, it's enough for you to remember this slide. This is very important. When you talk about leadership, it's about establishing direction, align people, motivate and inspire. Yeah. So what does establishing direction means? It is about developing a vision of the future, often the distant future, and strategies for producing the desired changes needed to achieve that vision. Yeah. So that you need to, once you have the vision, you need to have a plan to achieve that vision. Align people. Once you have the vision, you have the direction, you have to align people. Communicating the direction by words and deeds to all whose cooperation may be needed, so as to influence the creation of teams and coalitions that understand the vision and strategies and accept their validity. Yeah. So, and the third one is motivate and inspire, energizing. Yeah. people to overcome their major political, bureaucratic, and resource barriers, to change by satisfying very basic but often unfulfilled human needs. So these are the three things that leaders need to do: establish direction, align people, motivate, and inspire. And this is not easy. It seems easy, but it is not easy. First is coming up with the vision and the strategy. Second one is align people. I remember many years back in the 90s, late 90s, when I was dean of my faculty. At that time, there was only 12% of our academic staff have PhDs. And you want to go embark on research, you want to have postgraduate students and so on. So certainly, staff with PhD is better. The more staff with PhD is better. And me and my leadership team at the time, we identify people and issue letters for them to go and prepare their PhD, to do their PhD. And there was a lot of resistance. They draw cartoons on the internet, about me, about the asking them. And there was one guy who in a faculty meeting was telling me, Professor, I have nothing but this word about you. You are a dictator. I said, why am I a dictator? He said, two reasons. One, you force people to do PhD. Second, he said, you force people to punch your attendance, because at that time we don't have to, record our attendance. So it's difficult as dean to find my people. Sometimes I go to the office, they are not there, and they're not taking leave, but where they are, at the time. So I introduce this at least once a day. So this is the practice in UTM now. At least once a day, people must record their attendance. Okay? At that time, I said, whatever time, morning, evening, up to you. But now I think in UTM, they ask before 10 a.m., you must record your attendance. So that's the directive there. Okay? So aligning them is not easy. But of course, now the faculty in UTM, since now UTM is a research university, there are almost 90 to 100% PhD, staff with PhD in the faculty now. Yeah, but it wasn't easy to align people because, and now people who do not have a PhD have no place in a university like UTM because now it is a research-intensive university. You need to have PhDs, So that is a challenge I was facing, aligning people at that time. And motivate and inspire, of course. Motivating, inspire, energizing people is also, there's a skill that you need to acquire. Okay, this is just sharing from the book, CEO Excellence, by McKinsey. It's a recent book, 2023, I think, published in 2023. Why this is relevant? If you are the head of department, you are the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of your department. If you are a faculty, you are CEO of your faculty. If you are president or vice chancellor of the university, you are CEO of the university. You have a director of your research center or your institute, research institute, you are the CEO. So these are the things that the CEO, these are the 6 responsibilities of the CEO. Set direction. I think just now we mentioned about setting direction. Align the organization. Third is mobilize through leaders. And then, of course, sometimes you have a board of advisors, board of directors, board of trustees. You have to engage the board. You have to connect with your stakeholders. I mentioned just now about managing stakeholders. And of course, very important, manage personal effectiveness. This is what they call self-leadership. Yeah, you have to improve yourself. You have to know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to improve on your strength, capitalize on the strengths. You have to manage your weaknesses and so on. Yeah. So this, and you have to, of course, improve your time management, your discipline, your work ethics, and so on. Okay, this is from another leadership two leadership professors here, Kuzes and Posner. They have done extensive research worldwide on leadership. So based on their studies of surveys of thousands of leaders around the world over several decades, there are 4 characteristics of admired leaders, top 4. And they are in order. First, honest. People want to see the leader have strong character, honest, trustworthy. Number 2, forward-looking. Meaning to say visionary. They want to see in their leaders people who are forward-looking, people who can see the future, who can predict the future. So 3, inspiring. When they look at them, they feel inspired by their presence, by their actions and behavior. So number 4 is competence. Of course, they want to see, they want their leaders to be very competent. And the 5th is intelligent. Nobody wants an idiot to be there, or a stupid person to be the leader, and broad-minded and so on. So top 4: honest, forward-looking, inspiring, competent. Okay, this is another from Kuzes and Posner based on their research as well. In their book, the people ask them, what has changed? And they conduct a lot of courses on leadership. People have asked them, what has changed throughout the years? And they were saying, the principles have not changed. But the context changed. So, probably previously, we have only baby boomers and Generation X, Gen X as the people under you. But now you have millennials. There are people like me, baby boomers still around, Gen X, millennials, Gen Alpha, and so on now in the workforce. So leading multi-generations has to be a new skill that you must acquire. So that the context change, and of course, in some organizations, easy to lead. To me, according to me, my own opinion, like hierarchical organizations, like an army, it's easy to lead an army. You just bark orders. If you're at the top, bark orders, people follow you. In the government hierarchy, also, it's easy to get things done. Just bark orders, you get things done. But what about universities? Is it easy to lead? According to some experts, universities are amongst the most difficult organizations to lead. Why? Because you're leading clever people. People who have masters, PhDs, associate professors, and they are experts in their field, and so on. So that's why I remember one chairman of the University Council, UTM, a long time ago, the board of directors, UTM. He said there are 2 organizations very difficult to lead. One is a university, and the other one is a hospital. Because the hospitals are populated by doctors, led by doctors who are very clever people. Nowadays in Malaysia, for example, if you don't get top results, you won't get into a Bachelor of Medicine course. Very difficult. Okay, so very clever people and these 2 organizations. So the context may change, but the principles are there. And in this book, they put down there 10 truths about leadership. It will stand the test of time. One is you make a difference. Leadership is about making a difference. If you are there, but you don't bring change, there's nothing that you bring to the table, you're just maintaining status quo, then you're not leading. Leading means making a difference. Number 2, credibility is the foundation of leadership. You need to have credibility. And according to Kuzes and Posner, the foundations of credibility is the top 4 just now. Honest, character, forward-looking, inspiring, and competent. So you need to be credible. Number 3, values drive commitment. Values are very important. That's why all organizations have core values. And the values of the leader is also very important. So like things like discipline, things like high sense of responsibility, your value of being fair and just, and so on. So these are things that normally drives commitment for leaders. So you need to hold on to some very strong or good values. Focusing on the future sets leaders apart. This is vision we're talking about. This is where, I'm going to relate to visionary leadership and so on. Focusing on the future. Leaders focus on the future. Today and yesterday, the managers, the people under you, manage those. Leadership has to think about what's coming, and prepare your organization to what's coming. Number 5, you can't do it alone. So if you're doing things alone, you're not a leader. So you can't do it alone. If you have a team of people under you, have people under you, that you need to mobilize, energize them, and mobilize. And your leadership is about doing things through others. I remember one dean before this, long time ago. He has the difficulty to ask others to do things, to give orders or to command others. And he was doing everything by himself. So his 2 deputy deans have no job to do. They were complaining to me. Our dean is doing everything, so we have nothing to do. So, of course, some people may like it, but it's not good. People don't want to go to an office holding a certain position and doing nothing. It's bad on their self-esteem. It's self-worth. They want to be contributing. So the leader is someone who gets others to be involved in doing the work. Number 6, trust rules. Trust is very important. You have to create the organization where trust is very important. It's upheld. People trust you as leader, and you can trust people under you. Number 7, challenge is the crucible for greatness. To become normally a great leader, you need to have challenges. And normally challenges, great leaders come out of these challenges. And of course, the one big challenge that all of us faced recently was the COVID. A lot of organizations closed down. A lot of companies closed down. And I remember just after COVID, I was traveling throughout Malaysia. I see in the lot of resorts, for example, along the coast of West Coast of Malaysia, for example, were closed at the time. A lot of businesses were closed. I remember going to Skudai. Skudai is where UTM is. Trying to shop for something from the shops that I used to go, and found that they're all closed. They're definitely closed down. So leaders and I remember the companies of UTM. UTM have few companies in Unit Technologies, Berhad, consulting company. They have the UTM Holdings, for big projects, and they have the UTM Space as a company. So some companies were doing losses during the COVID, but these 3 companies were doing well and contributing to UTM in terms of finance. So that shows that they've got good leadership, able to steer through the challenge. So challenge is the crucible for greatness. Number 8, you either lead by example or you don't lead at all. So leading by example is very important in leadership. You have to set an example. You want to ask others to do research, publish papers. You as a leader have to do it first. You have to be an example in this. If not, it's difficult to ask others to do things. You want others. I remember one CEO of a private college. He wants everybody to come early, but he came late. So we're talking about. So he's not an example. The best leaders are the best learners. So that is a saying. Today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Once you stop reading, you stop leading. So reading and leading has a very strong relationship. So you have to continuously learn. Because by reading books, attending courses, attending conferences, you get new ideas. And that's when you will, you can provide good leadership with these new ideas. Leadership is an affair of the heart, number 10. So it's about, people say what comes from the heart easily enters the heart. If it just comes from your mouth, it'd be difficult to enter the heart of another person. So reading is an affair of the heart. Okay? So if you want to know further about these 10 truths, find the book, and they give lots of examples in there. Okay, this is competencies. I know there's a lot here, yeah, but this is from Zenger Fortman. They do a lot of research on competencies of leadership. Therefore, they publish a white paper. You can Google on the internet and find this white paper, The New Extraordinary Leader. If you want to become extraordinary, you want to become a great leader, you will have to acquire these 19 competencies. Of course, you don't do it all at once. You have to slowly build these competencies. And sometimes they talk about competency companions. One competency may have several competency companions, meaning to say, if you focus on one, you may also develop the other competencies. So that's what is meant by competency companions. Number one on this is your character. You have to be a genuine person. People don't like fake characters. You say one thing, but you do another thing. So character is most important. Second, of course, technical and professional acumen. Your proficiency in whatever area that you are in. Problem analysis and problem solving. We face a lot of problems every day. In all organizations, even in university context, there are lots of problems happening and how to solve them. So this is a competency that you have to acquire. Innovation. Next is learning agility. You have to learn fast. Sometimes you're given a job, you're appointed to a certain position, and you have to have a steep learning curve. You have to, sometimes I tell people you have to hit the ground running. So this learning agility is very important. When you're given a position, people don't expect you to learn, take 1 year to learn, 6 months, 1 year is too long. You have to be able to learn fast so that you can do a good job. Results driven. You can talk and claim that you're a good leader, but if you don't produce results, people will not say that you're a good leader. So the ability to produce results is an important competency. Stretch goals. What do I mean by stretch goals here? Yeah. Stretch goals is actually you set goals which are higher, than the normal, the normal benchmark. I remember when I was at UITM, we were deciding the KPIs, the targets for establishing collaborations with universities overseas, international universities. Of course, the way they were doing before that was the strategic planning unit will discuss with the deans and negotiate a target. What's the target they set for 1 year? Okay, establishing collaboration with one international university. I said, what? This is so easy. Some people probably have 2 in the pipeline already. They can easily achieve. So I set a target of 10 per year. Of course, people were not very happy, But we push, we energize them, and in the end, it turns out that 10 is to me is a stretch target. What was normal was 1 and 2, but we put 10, and many achieve that. Some exceed that. Some, of course, may not achieve 10, but they achieve 7, 8. To me, that's good. Rather than 1. So that's what stretch goals, or stretch target is. Initiative, the ability to initiate things. Or taking the initiative, making decisions is also a skill that's very important. Sometimes some leaders cannot make decisions. I recall a former boss, a colleague of mine was complaining, I met him 3 times already, no decision. Why is that? So some people, it's difficult for them to make decisions. So you have to be able to make decisions. Easy decisions, difficult decisions. You have to, risk taking. So taking risk. Of course, it's calculated risk. Sometimes you have to take risk. Some people don't like KPIs. Targets. They say, why put something on your neck? If you don't achieve, then heads will roll. But to me, if you put a goal which is achievable, then that shows that, and of course there are some risks you're taking there. But if you work hard and strategize well and get your team to achieve it, you will most times you will be able to achieve it. So although there's some risk there. Communicating powerfully and perfectly, inspiring others to high performance, building positive relationships. Like I said just now, you need to have this good interpersonal skills. And I suggested the book just now, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There are also many other books about improving your interpersonal skills, developing others under you, doing training for them, giving training for them, mentoring and coaching them, and so on. Collaborating and teamwork. This is also an important competency, how to collaborate with others. Of course, your communication skills must be good, and of course, you must have certain approach. After knowing the other party well, then normally it has to be a win-win collaboration, rather than you're trying to take advantage of others and so on. So collaborating and teamwork is something very important. Valuing diversity. Nowadays, talents are coming from everywhere in the world. Sometimes you have to have several nationalities in your team. So you have to be able to manage diversity. So this important skill nowadays in many international organizations. Develop strategic perspective. Champions change, has customer and external focus. Okay. So these are the competencies we want to become a great leader, but of course, you have to build it slowly. And according to General Common, people ask them, what is the most important competency? What's the silver bullet that made the greatest difference? And based on their research, they say, inspire and motivate to high performance. Number 12, inspiring others to high performance. Was the single most important competency for the leader to possess. But this does not mean that the other elements of leadership are not important. They can't be ignored. But if you want to focus on one, this is it. And the following attributes are the cornerstone of what it takes to inspire and motivate others. There are 3 main attributes of this. If you want to be good at this, one is become a role model. Talk about being a good example just now. Change champion, you champion change. And 3, you're a good initiator. Whatever we have decided, you can initiate its implementation. So to be an initiator is something very important. 6 behaviors of inspiring leaders: setting stretch goals. Just now we've mentioned about what a stretch goal is all about. Creating vision and direction. Again, we're talking about visionary leadership here. Communicating powerfully. You have to be able to communicate to everyone, cascade the vision down, get everyone to be aligned to that direction. Develop people. People may not have all the skills that you have for them to do the good work, so you have to develop them. A lot of these things actually are a big challenge to me currently. Probably not in universities in developed countries or developed economies, but universities in countries where they have suffered from wars and so on and rebuilding. So sometimes this is a big challenge in developing people and so on. Being collaborative and a good team player and fostering innovation. According to Zenger and Folkman, they were saying these 3, role model, change champion, and initiator, they've likened it to like a battery pack, battery pack, 3 battery packs. And the 6 behavior, these are the batteries, which goes into the battery pack. So this is how you want to become an inspiring leader. Okay, now we go into styles. I will not dwell much into leadership style. There's a whole discussion of many approaches on the leadership style, but I'm going to just bring one approach here. In leading, you need various leadership styles. You must have a repertoire of styles. And some people call this concept situational leadership. Meaning to say one situation requires a different style, another situation requires different style. When there's a fire, an emergency, you cannot have a democratic style here. Come, let's discuss what to do. You do this, you do that. No, it's just you have to just give orders, orders. So that's a different style. So there is, according to this, there are many styles actually, but I'm giving here 9. And they give examples as well. So visionary is one of them. One of the styles paints a picture, a bold picture of the future, and inspires pursuit. Use when you drive innovation and lead people beyond limits. And there's another type of leadership style which also uses vision. That is number 9, transformational leadership. They use vision to guide people to move things. So you have to have all these styles. I can identify. I normally use 5 styles from this list of 9. Number 2, visionary, democratic, servant style, coaching, and transformational. So these are the styles that I normally use. Okay, now we're talking about visionary leadership. Okay, it was first coined by Professor Daniel Goleman of Harvard Business School. I'm sure you know Daniel Goleman is famous for his work on emotional intelligence. There's a book on emotional intelligence written by Daniel Goleman. He first coined the term in 2002 as part of the Goleman Leadership Styles Framework. Goleman defines visionary leadership as the ability to take charge and inspire with a compelling vision, and postulates that this type of leadership is best used when changes require a new vision or when a clear direction is needed. He also categorizes visionary leadership as an authoritative leadership style. Authoritative is different from autocratic. Autocratic is dictatorial. But authoritative means you lead with a firm and authoritative style. So this is when you require a new vision or when a clear direction is needed. Sometimes an organization is languishing at the bottom of the, compared to others, and a new direction is needed. So a new leader is appointed and it brings the organization to a new direction. The visionary leader truly understands the big picture and sets a long-term path for the organization. When applying a visionary leadership style, the long-term vision is also properly communicated and explained to the members of the organization. So vision is important, but you have to communicate. So the visionary leader, they see that big picture in front of them, and they're good at communicating it to others. You have to use all avenues to communicate it, especially in a big organization. I recall in UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, when we want to change from being a teaching university to a research intensive university. So there was a lot of engagement. The Vice Chancellor at that time introduced the monthly gathering with the staff. It's a monthly thing where the Vice Chancellor or President talks to staff. And every time we will be talking about the new direction, the targets that we have set, and so on, in order to influence people. So a lot of communication is to use. Sometimes big gatherings, sometimes small meetings, sometimes individual personal touch. So these are all the ways of how you can communicate the vision. Why is visionary leadership important? We are working in a VUCA environment, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. There are many things. Post-normal, people say post-normal times, there are many new things coming. There is the technologies under Industrial Revolution 4.0. New technologies are coming. There is AI, which are permeating through every aspect of our life, artificial intelligence also, and we don't know what's coming. Somebody mentioned introduced tariffs, and the whole world had problems, about tariffs. Even it affects people like me. Although the tariffs were introduced in the US, people like me have problems. I remember I get my salary in US dollars. At one time it used to be 100 US dollar. I get 150,000 Iraqi dinar. Now it's 140,000, 141,000. So 1 year ago, 150,000. Now I get less, and the Malaysian ringgit is getting stronger. So when I send it to Malaysia, convert it, I'm getting less there. So I'm getting less here, I'm getting less there. Yeah. So you see, so there are a lot of uncertainties happening. And then here in the Middle East, we are always fearful of wars. Yeah. So if a certain country attacks, Israel and Iran, they attack each other, they go through the skyline of Iraq. Missiles will go through our skyline, our space. So there's, we don't know. So things like this can happen in this world. So there are a lot of uncertainties, and it affects us. And even in universities, it affects us. So they're able to see beyond the foggy present. It creates trust into us and other leaders alike. We need vision to help us, guide us on a journey that no one has been on before. There is a discussion, I think it's published. What will universities look like in 2050? I'm not sure whether you have read this. There are many people who give this their views, what will happen in 2050. And of course, it's mentioned that some universities will die, will close down. It's the death of universities with physical campuses will happen. There are already universities in some countries like Australia, they change from physical campus to face-to-face to online now. Yeah. So many things will happen in the future, and we're not sure about what's happening. So we need visionary leadership to guide us through these uncertainties. Okay, these are some of the qualities of visionary leader: persistent, inspirational, open-minded, innovative, bold. Normally visionary leaders are bold. They are willing to take risks. Collaborative and communicative, goal-oriented, well-organized, responsible, enthusiastic, emotionally aware. Another discussion on characteristic of visionary leader. They have strategic insight. How to have this strategic insight? When you start off in your career, you may not have this strategic insight. But like myself, I'm very grateful that I was in UTM in the 90s, early 90s. We already have been introduced to. We have already practiced this strategic planning occasions. We organize strategic planning, and we have already strategic discourse. So this is part of our culture, especially at UTM. And so once you attend a few of these strategic sessions, you tend to have a strategic insight of things. You understand what strategies are important, what are big things, what are small things, and so on. They're able to communicate the vision clearly. They display good emotional qualities. Emotional intelligence is very important. According to studies by Goldman, 75% or 80% to 80% of success in life depends on emotional intelligence, not IQ. Yeah? EQ. So EQ is very important. They have empathy and compassion. They have collaborative nature. They encourage and engage others on the journey. Okay. 5 steps to become visionary leader. I'm going quickly now, it's almost 1 hour now. First, create a comprehensive visionary statement with a detailed plan of action. A good vision statement should have the following characteristics. I will just highlight one. Yeah? The statement should preferably be no more than 2 sentences. Okay. Shouldn't be long. You know, sometimes you see the vision statements of companies or organizations or universities, very long paragraphs and a page, you know. Nobody remembers it. You ask people, I test this, nobody remembers. So it should be, you know, 1 or 2 sentences. Very important. And I like to recall, I mentioned in my book, later on I will introduce my book, about what's George Bain, you know, a former president and vice chancellor of Queen's Belfast University, I think in Ireland, where he said, people will march for a phrase, he said. People will march for a phrase, a short sentence. People will not march for a paragraph, and much less a page. If you have been involved in demonstrations before, you know, they bring slogans, very short.
Yeah. Prof?
You cry out a slogan which is long, nobody will follow. You know? Long live good vision statements. For example, BBC, very short, to be the most creative organization in the world. Okay. That's one example. I'll give you a few examples. Google, to provide access to the world's information in a click, in 1 click. Nike, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. You know, so very short, very short. So when I was at UiTM, the previous vision was like a paragraph. Right? And when I test people, nobody remembers it. So we introduced a new vision to be a globally renowned university in science, technology, humanities, and entrepreneurship. You know, it's easy. And later on, they coined it GRU 2025, globally renowned university. So it's easy, and it's easy to inspire people. So it should have clear and simple language, easily understood. Vision should be realistic and not an impossible dream. Finally, vision needs to be aligned with the core values of the organization. Address issues within the organization, ensure transparency, develop your IQ, display optimism. Okay. And also that's from the inspiring leader. The leader orchestrates a process that creates a concise, compelling, and clear vision for organization. He needs to involve his team, as this is not a solo flight. Okay. You have to bring your team together. We craft the vision. Of course, you can throw your ideas, you know, but it should be a team effort so that when it's crafted, when it's accepted, people become committed to that vision. Combine organization guiding principle with the picture of what the organization wants to be in a few years. Vision should capture the important guiding principles and values. Establish a clear line of sight. Identify what is trivial and what is titanic, what is big, what is small. You have to have quick wins and long-term wins. Align system initiatives on the vision. Regularly communicate the vision and direction. 3 more slides to go. This is from my own experience. You know, in 1997, I became dean of my faculty, civil engineering. At that time, there were no universities ranking. There were no quality assurance organizations. You know, there was a professional body. We have to present, get accreditation from the professional body regards to our program. So at that time, the term world class, you know, was very popular, and we know what it means. But so we put this as our vision: world class civil engineering faculty. Although at that time we only have 12% of our staff, academic staff, were having PhDs, and we were very good at undergraduate education. We're just slowly embarking to postgraduate education and research and so on. So we have the strategic thrust: research, consultancy, quality, academic program, effective administration, staff development, and the initiatives. And you can see from there, staff development, increased number of staff with PhDs. So that's one of our initiatives that we have made. And you know, fast forward another 20, 25 years now, the civil engineering program at UTM is now top 100 in the world university subjects ranking. You know, in Malaysia is number 1. So, there's a lot of research going there, a lot of publication. They've got a lot of international students, a lot of postgraduate students, and so on. So that's what the faculty has become now. And I was at UTM Space, the private wing of UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, tasked to offering programs on lifelong learning for working adults in the beginning. And they were having collaborations within the country. They have like 15 learning centers throughout Malaysia. At that time, they have like 15 to 20 private colleges who are their partners throughout Malaysia and so on. So we put this vision to be an international, sorry, the word "and" missing there, to be an international center of excellence in lifelong learning. We want to go abroad. When we study the paper that proposes the setting up of UTM Space, it includes within the country and also outside the country. So we have this vision, and we have initiatives, strategies, initiatives to implement the vision, and that's when we start to venture abroad. We were doing training programs for people from South Korea, from Sri Lanka, from Bangladesh, from Singapore, from Indonesia, and so on. And the establishment of Qaiwan International University is also part of the initiative that UTM Space has played a role. At that time, I was dean, and they were asking a team from Iraq, Kurdistan, Iraq, came to UTM, inviting UTM to form a campus here. We said we don't have the money to put the campus, but we can franchise our program to you. So today, Qaiwan International University is running 5 franchise programs from UTM and 7 franchise programs from UITM. Okay, so they don't have a program of their own. They are offering programs for 2 universities in Malaysia. Okay, so this is as part of the execution of that vision that we have. And lastly, when I was at UITM in 2019, I was given the task by the board of directors to come up with a new strategic plan, and we come up with this UITM 2025 strategic plan, and have a very short vision and come up with strategies to come up with this vision, and we launched this in 2020. The irony is, we launched it in February, and in March there was a lockdown because of COVID. But of course, we transfer everything online, all our activities online, our teaching, our collaboration, and so on. And it's global, to be a globally renowned university. We achieved in 2025 was actually a tall order at the time. So within a short time, we managed to enhance the visibility of the university from collaboration from 132 partners, international partners. In 2019, we managed to raise it to, by the time I left the university, to 373 international universities. And for the first time, in the world QS World University Subjects Ranking, the hospitality and leisure management, it was not ranked before, but during my time when I was there, 2019 to 2021, it achieved top 50 in the world, number 31 in the world. So, but now ranking has gone down, because of competition, and probably, they're not as hardworking and dynamic as before. Okay, so I think that's all that I can share with you, and I hope the one I was also sharing has benefited you, and I welcome any question if you have.
Yes, thank you, Prof. A round of applause from the hall here. We have postgraduate students as well as undergraduate students of Tokyo City University. attending physically from Yokohama campus. And thank you so much to all of our participants over Zoom platform. And I can see professors and also lecturers from UTM, Johor Bahru and Kuala Lumpur. And then I have some mentors and also their mentees coming from the Malaysian Water Association, staff members, I think, from Qaiwan International University. Thank you so much for joining. Now is the time for you to ask questions to Professor Datuk Azraai. You can type your questions, or you can also switch on your video and ask the question directly to Professor Datuk. I have burning questions myself, so but as the moderator, I should allow all the participants to ask their questions first. So please. Anyone in the hall as well? So Sensei and friends here, if you have questions.
Thank you, Professor Azraai, for your excellent material. Oh yeah, thank you very much for your impressive material about leadership. So I've been listening about the, sorry? Oh yeah, let me introduce myself. I am Zaki from Indonesia. I am currently studying under Professor Bahadur Rijal here. And regarding your lecture, regarding the material so far about leadership, I have a funny question, maybe. So, because you gave a lot of material about how to be a leader, and you mentioned that you yourself, when in the beginning of this material, that you are still learning yourself. So, I'm wondering, when is it time to influence people, and when is it time for you to be influenced? Because every time, me personally, I moved to, especially here in Japan in this university, it's a new place for me. And of course, we are trying to be a better version of ourselves every day. And as you said, there are certain things that you need to have to be a leader, and there are different types of leader. But I'm wondering what is the balance between getting influenced, because you need to know your environment first, and you influencing other people to become a better status, and maybe if you're aiming to become a leader. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. It's a good question. Okay, according to John Maxwell, based on his research, we, person influence 10,000 others throughout his lifetime. So if you, from the various positions that you will hold, you will influence 10,000 others. You can be in a NGO, it can be at a faculty or university setting, it can be in a company, or it can be like charitable organizations outside and so on, or a mosque committee or a church committee or whatever. So you will influence this, and I think it's a process where it's a continuous process where it takes place simultaneously. You influence others at the same time, others will influence you as well. Or you will, and normally people who will influence you are people who are like better than you, people who have a long experience, knowledgeable. They will certainly influence us. So when I say that I'm a student of leadership, meaning to say the learning continues. And of course, whatever little I know in the beginning, I will implement it. And I continuously read and learn and attend courses. I still attend courses. I went back last year on a holiday. I was attending a course on human-centered leadership, given by a very notable personality in Malaysia, Tan Sri Syed Zainal, who was former senior VP of Petronas. He was leading at one time Proton and Produa and so on. So learning never ends. But what is most important is whatever little you learn, you implement. For example, in trying to influence others, for example, you acquire the skills of interpersonal skills. You improve your interpersonal skills, and you improve your ability to give reasoning to others, so that people can easily get influenced for whatever you want them to do. So influencing and being influenced is something that will happen throughout your life. And like I said, you're being influenced by people who are more knowledgeable, more experienced than you, or someone who has something that you don't know much, that you want to learn, and so on. So that is a continuous process, but you acquire the skills of being a good leader slowly. And of course, you have to get feedback. Leadership, to become a good leader, you need feedback. You need constant feedback. Whether you're, you do it right, you're doing it wrong. I want to share you one example. How I learned that I wasn't doing something right, and from then on, I tried to improve myself. I was in a committee to organize a conference, and the head of the committee was saying one thing, you don't need to give, so we invited a VVIP to officiate the program. And at that time, the mood was that, you don't give them any like gifts or I don't know, at the end, of the program to the VVIP. So since the chairman says no, don't give any gifts, so I didn't prepare any gifts. So on that day, when the VVIP came, I was asking, "Where's the gift?" I said, "No, we didn't prepare the gift." So he was very upset, and I was upset as well. So I shared it with my colleague. I was sharing a colleague, but at the time I was dean. I was sharing with a colleague, and of course, it was in front of when the seminar conference was happening. I was talking very quietly, whispering. That person thought that I was angry at him or her. I cannot mention a specific gender here. Yeah, and I was scolding that person, and the person was crying and wanted to resign from the university. And somebody came to me, "Did you scold this person?" No, I said, I was sharing my feelings. I said, that person wanted to resign. Oh, okay. Next day, I called the person back and explained my action and so on. So now, from there, I realized that sometimes it's very important to be careful with your words. When you're holding positions, sometimes you just share. So sometimes sharing your feeling might not be a good idea to people under you, because they might think that you're scolding them or you're angry with them, and so on. So just a lesson from small lesson. Okay.
Thank you,
I hope
Prof. Yes, we have Engineer Eddie. Would you like to say your question directly to Professor Datuk? Engineer Eddie, thank you for joining.
I didn't like the attending as well.
We can't hear you. Engineer Eddie, are you on mute? Engineer Eddie, we cannot hear you. Try again. Sorry, so sorry, Engineer Eddie, we cannot hear you. Yeah, we cannot hear you. Jauh sangat. It's too far, your voice. Okay, Engineer Eddie, we can see you on the screen, but we cannot hear you. So I'm going to read the question for you. Is that
Hello?
okay?
Can
Yes,
you hear
now we
me?
can hear you. Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, please
Can you hear
proceed.
me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
We can hear you.
I don't know whether you hear me.
Yes.
That's a lag. No,
Yes. We can hear you. Now we cannot. Prof, can you hear him?
No.
No. Okay. Engineer Eddie, I'm going to read your question. How is the development of university in Malaysia to researching university until today? And how is leadership able to move us forward to the forefront of the world? That's the question from Engineer Eddie. Thank you.
Let's explain it a bit. I couldn't catch.
Yeah,
How's
so
the-
the development of research university in Malaysia, Prof. Datuk. So how can leadership able to move our universities to the forefront of research in the world?
Right. The five that we have now, 5 research universities in Malaysia, which has been is a status given by the Ministry of Higher Education, and they are given extra funding by the government to do research. During my time, I was happy that we received 100 million ringgit per university at that time. There are 5 research universities now: USM, UKM, UPM, and UTM. UTM was the last of the 5, and it was it was very successful. This research university program was very successful in enculturing research within the university community, and they were able to elevate the university to a higher level. And that's why these 5 universities, they're also in the top 200 ranking, QS ranking in the world. I think the highest, of course, is University of Malaya, which is our #1 university. So because of this research university program, it has elevated our universities to positions world class, and they become also some of the top universities in Southeast Asia. Of course, behind 2 universities in Singapore, which are top in the world. So amongst the top in the world. So I think that's brought a lot of progress. There are a lot of patents that have been generated, a lot of research, a lot of commercialization happening. And of course, this is again continuing. This is a continuous process, and I believe one day, if the trend continues, one of our universities might be in the top 30 or top 20 in the world with this progress. So I think, but of course, these universities need strong leadership. And this is the job of the Ministry of Career. If they put the right leaders there, the university will progress. And again, if they put the wrong leader there, the university will not progress much. So I think there's a center, Academic Leadership Training Center by the ministry, which is supposed to train, prepare leaders for the universities of Malaysia, both public as well as private universities. And you can also see a lot of progress amongst the private universities now, because they have the money to invest in R&D and collaboration and so on. So that's my short answer. I mean, it's progressing well, and someday we will hear very good news about one or two of our universities will be in the top 20 or 25 in the world. Yeah.
Hope that answers your question, Engineer Eddie. Thank you so much.
Yes. I don't know whether you can hear me now.
Yes, we can now. Yes.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I got some setting, because before this priorities, I was in the China thing, so I have to set the other way around. Sorry.
Thank you. We have another question, Prof, from Afiq, from the Malaysia Young Water Professional Chapter. So his question is in reference to the most powerful competency slide. Could you elaborate on the meaning of change champion and how this competency character is demonstrated in practice? So how can we know that we have that quality of change champion, Prof?
Change champion means is you lead change. You're given a position. Only you're given a leadership position where you can bring change to the organization. If you are at the bottom, of the organization or you're one of the staff, it's difficult to bring change. I'm talking about leaders who are leading organizations here. I'm trying to get my book, I'm not, this is published by UTM, Leading Transformations and Turnarounds in academia. This is the book. Yeah, Leading Transformation and Turnaround. So it talks a lot about change. Sometimes we have to do turnarounds as well. Sometimes you have to do transformation. So there are many steps towards change. The guru of change is, I think, one of the guru of change. I think he has 8 steps in the leading change, which I think you can find in the book. Yeah, but I will share with you my own formula, about change. So first is about, normally I will take stock of current, when I'm given a position, I will take stock of current achievements and document them and find out what is the gap. So for example, when I was given the opportunity to lead University Technology Mara, the first things I do is to understand the whole organization, and see what are the gaps. And it was easy for me because I came from a research university, and they are a comprehensive university, and you can easily identify the gaps. So you have to identify the gaps, and then identify weak. Number 2, identify weak areas that need fixing, gaps in performance, and new ideas to bring the organization forward. That's the second step. Number 3, come up with new vision, new direction, and comprehensive plan for change. This is where you, together with your team, will, based on the gaps, come up with a new vision and new strategies and so on. And number 4, aligns all staff to the new vision and direction through extensive communication and get staff buy-in to implement the plan. And number 5, energize the whole organization to become a high-performing organization. So this is my own 5-step formula, in trying to bring change. So of course, the leader has to lead from the front, in trying to bring change, and with a good plan and with extensive communication, getting everybody aligned. Then you need to follow up to every quarterly to see the progress. And in UTM, this is an established process where every 3 months we will bring everyone, and then we will talk about the progress you have achieved for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and so on. And I introduced this practice to UITM, and now they're doing it the same. So you need to monitor its progress and tweak in areas or improve in areas where you are lagging behind, and so on. So there's a lot of things about leading change, and I think one needs to understand the process of change and how to bring about change. Of course, we do not change just for the sake of change. You want to bring change to a better. My style has always been that I always try to bring the organization better than when I found it. I always try to bring it to a higher level, way better than when I found it, when I first came into that position. So that has been my style all this while. And of course, through that process, you can see a lot of results. The results I mentioned about UITM just now, the quick was the quick wins. But of course, the long term will be the progress on research, on publications, on scholarship, on innovations and commercialization and so on. That's a bit long term. But there are some things that you can achieve quickly and so on. So that this will inspire everyone that the plan is working, it's workable, it's achievable. Okay, so that's another whole discussion, but try to get the book that I have written and from UTM. I think you can get it through Shopee, I think. Yeah, and have an idea about the process of leading change.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Datuk. So from the hall, any other question from participants in Yokohama campus? Students, any more? Perhaps one last question, Sensei? Yeah, if you have, or okay. So I have one question, Prof. Datuk. One last one before we conclude the session. So my question is, how can you self-evaluate your leadership competencies? Just now Datuk mentioned, so if we lead and then we get somebody to give feedback to us, and then somebody says something about our leadership style or the feedback of how we actually lead them. But most of the time, or some of the times, we would like to just do some kind of self-evaluation for Datuk. So how can we do that? How can we self-evaluate our competencies? Thank you, Datuk.
When I started out in the early 2000, I bought a book by Marcus Buckingham. Now Discover Your Strengths. That's a good book, you know. And in that book, you're given a password to a website where you can evaluate your strengths. They give you top 5 strengths. To me, it was very good. As you want to be a good leader, you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so one way is to assess your strength. You know, what are your strengths? You know, top 5. So I know my top 5. You know, and of course I capitalize them very well in my leadership. You know? So there are, if you want a free, the one is now called the Strengths Finder. Is now you have to pay. It's online, yeah. But there is a free version. The free version is, I think, I've forgotten. But if you Google, there's a free version of Strengths Finder. It's called something else. I think like top 5 or something like this. Okay, then you have some idea about your strengths, and of course weaknesses. Okay, weaknesses. How do you know this? You know, if your organization is implementing the this practice of slip my mind, where you're being evaluated by your boss, by your peers, and by people under you. You know, what's that practice called? Anybody?
Evaluation? Not evaluation. Assess.
Slip my mind.
Yeah.
So, so if you get that, if you practice that, then people under you can, or your peers can. Normally, they are people who can tell us where our weaknesses are. Yeah, and also your close friends, as well as your family members. You know? These are where you can know your strengths and weaknesses. So, there is this online self-evaluation. There is, of course, people around you who can tell you, and of course, you must be able to receive feedback. You know, good feedback, of course, you know, everybody likes it, but the not so good feedback, that's something that you have to be open-minded to receive, because then, if not, you will not improve. For example, I have to admit here, my wife is my strongest critic. Sometimes she hears my talk and she will comment later on that, oh, you should have smiled a lot. You should have don't say or you know, too much or whatever, you know, or too much hand movements. So she will comment, give me all this comment, and I try to improve myself. So there are many ways. But there was one good tip by from one leadership guru. They say, once you know your strengths, bring your strengths to become extreme strengths. You know, so that you are able to provide good leadership using the strength. That strength. On your weakness, it's difficult sometimes to remove the weakness. So you manage your weaknesses. So sometimes, for example, I'm not very good with computer stuff, you know, with IT stuff. So how do I manage it? Of course, I can learn, but I can also get others to help me, you know, to do the everything on computer. I'm not very good at AI. so I can get others to help me with the artificial intelligence app and so on. Okay, that's one way.
Thank you very much, Datuk. I said last question just now, but we have our last question, I hope, from Zoom. If Dr. Zainul is here, you probably would like to ask the question yourself directly to Datuk.
Datuk, sorry. Saya dekat office sekarang. Sorry, saya tak boleh buka kamera. Datuk, sorry, just want to ask. In your presentation just now, you did mention about the need for an organization to have a specific KPI for them to move forward, and for everybody to know what they are supposed to deliver. But at the same time, there are also other school of thought saying that if you can bring the organization to have a very specific culture on its own, at the end of the day, we don't need even a KPI in the first place. What do I have to say about that, Datuk? Thank you very much.
This ISO 9000 culture, and I was dean of faculty, we go for ISO 9001. You know, probably in countries in advanced economies, universities in advanced economies, they do not need ISO 9000 because they have this culture of documentation, processes which are well laid, you know. And so, but from culture where there's no, I'm having problem here now in my university. There is this lack of culture of documentation. You know, people come to meetings, you know, big agenda or just one-line agenda and just talking like that. So I'm trying to introduce that if they have a big agenda, they bring a paper. This is normal in UTM or other universities, you know. In our Senate, we have papers, but in some cultures, this is not that established, okay? So, sometimes in cultures we are not established. ISO 9001 is a good panacea for them. It's a good thing. So similarly with publications. In a culture like when I was in University of Newcastle or many universities in US, UK, Japan, whatever, is a culture for academics to publish, you know, to do research and to publish. But in some universities, it's not a culture. Like my university here, this is very new, like 5 or 6 years old. We're just doing undergraduate education. Research is not a culture. So now I'm slowly trying to introduce a culture of research, which is not easy. Okay. So similarly, when I was at UITM was all this while a teaching university. So when I went there, we want to intensify research. So you have a lot of initiatives to intensify research and publications and so on. So this, so in cultures where these are established, you don't need to specify 10 or 20. Some people will publish like 50, you know, in a year. You don't have to tell them because it's already part of the culture. So when I was at the early stage of my leadership, at you know, holding my position at UITM, I have to bring the characteristics or ingredients of a successful academic. I have to highlight to everyone. What are they? Number 1, teaching excellence. Number 2, research track record. 3, national and international collaboration. Number 4, leadership. This is what Shelda Debowski, you know, wrote in her book, The New Academic. And so I have to highlight this because people thought that, like my university here, teaching is the only job academics should be doing. There's no research, there's no publication, there's no postgraduate at the moment. We're trying to slowly introduce postgraduate programs here. Hopefully, early next year, we'll start introducing postgraduate programs. So when a situation where the culture is not there, you have to develop a culture. How? You have to set some targets. But if it's already part of the culture, you don't need targets. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Datuk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Datuk. Thank you, Dr. Zainul. Thank you for joining us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think time is very envious of our session. We have had a very good discussion on visionary leadership, and on behalf of Prof. Rijal, I would like to thank everybody for the questions asked and for making this program such an interactive session with Yang Bahagia Professor Datuk. Before we end, I would like to invite everyone to please kindly stay because we would like to take a group picture later But before that, may I invite Dean of Graduate School of Environment and Information Studies, who is also my boss, to which I should follow, besides my mother, Professor Rijal, to please kindly deliver your lovely closing remarks for the program today. Please, Sensei.
So, okay, so thank you very much. So, good afternoon, so everybody. So, thank you very much, Professor Kassim. So for your inspiring and insightful lecture. So you told you have read 100 books, and also you have attended more than 30 courses, right? So you are still a student for your leadership role, right? So I think I really appreciate of your hard working to be in this stage. So today I think you help us better understand about visionary leadership, where change is fast, uncertainty is high, and all ways of thinking is no longer work, I think. So you shows us how the higher education must have good leaderships for the teaching or maybe the research, innovation, right? And increase the level of the university. I think your leadership has helped higher education grow with clear goals and strong results, as you mentioned. You have improved university by building global connection and encouraging new ideas. You also support students and staff to learn with honesty, creativity, and a love for the learning and the research. You also look ahead and working together with the others to make education better for everyone. We thank you for your lasting contribution and for the leading us toward a better and a brighter future. Thank you once again, Professor Kassim, for sharing your vision and insight and energy with us today. I would like to express my sincere thanks to all the professor, student, staff, colleagues, and friends who joined us for this meaningful lecture. Finally, a special thanks to the Dr. Norhayati for her support in organizing this lecture. So thank you very much once again. So this is video. Can you say something?
This is video.
Okay.
Those on Zoom, you can wave.
So thank you so much for the lecture. So Sensei, do you want to say anything? It's okay?
Yes, thank you very much. Those on Zoom, you can wave. So
Okay, thank you.